Hello and Assalamu alaikum. Um, Let me welcome the panelists for this session, for this most anticipated session of the event, which is from seed to growth, building unicorns. So may I request the panelists to please come on the stage and start the session formally? Thank you. I'm intentionally not taking their names right now because I think there are some amazing panelists here today. Assalamu alaikum. So, as I've said, this session from seed to scale, building unicorns. Now you can see the founders I was mentioning, the business leaders who have been visionary in the area, not only locally, but globally as well. So for this session, I would just say that this is the session in which we are not going to talk about the usual stuff, the valuation, fundraising. We're going to talk about the deep forces which actually make a health tech startup, or any other startup, a unicorn, or any business, if it's not a startup, any traditional business using innovative ways to scale to a larger level. It's going to be more about those ambitious founders who converted the ideas, the normal ideas, into industry-changing innovations which changed the way the world is now functioning, created jobs, as well as impacted the lives of a whole decade of entrepreneurship. So starting with the first question, and the first question is that I think I don't have the right words to introduce you guys. They won't do justice. So please, in your own words, introduce yourself and describe what your company stands for. So we start from there.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Amir Khan. I'm a co-founder, CEO of Alkira. Alkira is a network infrastructure as a service company. So if you know Cisco Systems, it's a connectivity company. I started at Cisco in 1991, where there was no internet, so we provided the internet infrastructure, which is considered to be the roads or railroads across the globe, which connects everything. So when you communicate from computer to computer, that's what they do. So what we are doing is we are utilizing the cloud infrastructure to virtualize connectivity. We have built our cloud exchange points, which span across the globe. So rather than taking months signing contracts and deploying your own stuff, you can just come up to our website and create a global infrastructure within less than an hour. And we have Fortune 500 companies, Global 2000 companies, and we are scaling right now.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Raghib Hussain, and I am CEO of a semiconductor company, which is called Altera. Altera actually designed and produced the field programmable gate arrays, which are called FPGAs. These are foundational semiconductor technologies used in the very broad infrastructure. Most of the machines that you see around, most probably it has FPGA in it. And before that, about 25 years ago, I was co-founder of Cavium, which was a data plane processor company. We took it public, and finally it was acquired by Marvell Technologies in 2017. And then next 8 years, I was at Marvell. I was president of Marvell, driving Marvell transformation into data infrastructure company.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ansari. I'm a co-founder of US Mobile, a telecommunication company, which is the only few companies in the US connected with all three networks, including AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. We were founded back in 2014, I guess, and originally from Karachi, Pakistan. We have offices in Canada, US, and a huge office in Pakistan. Excited to be here to share and learn with all of you.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Imran. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Dubizzle Group. We're in the digital classified space in the MENA region. We started our journey in Pakistan with Zameen.com, then we acquired OLX after that. And today our core market is the UAE, where we have Dubizzle, which is a horizontal multi-category classifieds platform with Bayouth, which focuses on the real estate category. It's a digital classifieds business, not a real estate agency or anything of that sort. We have been expanding in Saudi, investing over $100 million in Saudi over the last 2 to 3 years, and then that will continue. That's with the brand Bayouth. We also have a large business in Egypt as well, so that's kind of the footprint overall. So Alhamdulillah, the business has done really well. We are a tech company. We have a lot of tech employees spanning from Romania to Pakistan to UAE, Saudi, everywhere. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Great to be here. My name is Amir Ibrahim. I'm a group executive of VEON, which is a frontier market telecom operator, pivoting ourselves to be more of a digital operator. In addition to that, I'm also the CEO of Jazz, which services more than 100 million customers across different brands in Pakistan, from telecommunications to lending to insurance to entertainment. Most of you perhaps are from Pakistani origin or have affiliation over there. So it's the company that you know as Jazz, or previously Mobilink. So I run that company in addition to my role as a group executive for VEON, which, as I said, operates in frontier markets from Bangladesh, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Pakistan.
So much, Amir. So I think we can all see that they all have a different pathway to success, different stories, but they all are combined or brought together by one thread, which is their relentless commitment to their purpose, to their ambition, and which made them successful. So before we, to set the tone and before we have further discussion, I have one simple question to the panelists, and you have to answer in not more than one sentence. So when you hear the word scale, what does it personally mean to you? Scale. Not more than one sentence.
I'm ready to go. People. That's it.
That's one word. That's
Impact.
Mindset.
Amir?
My word's already been taken. Impact.
I think it's the team.
So we have people, we have impact, and we have team. That's good to know. So I think from the audience, how many of you are scaling right now? Whether it's in terms of the territory, whether it's in terms of the raising growth capital, or even just adding team members. So this is how many of you are there? Can you raise your hands? So quite a lot of you. So this session is actually for you, because these are the people who have actually done it, and they know how to do it. And we are lucky to have such a brilliant group of founders, exceptional business leaders with us. And I'll start my first question from Raghib. So Raghib, you have been, in your career, driving the semiconductor innovation. And throughout that process, you have actually powered almost everything, like from data centers to AI. So what does it really take to move a product from a lab, a wonderful product from lab, to be a successful, scalable product which is actually transforming the industry?
In my opinion, it's always about solving a real problem. If you identify a real problem, and if you just reject the status quo and then you say, hey, we can produce a better solution with better efficiency or better performance. And then you work closely with the customer who is going through that pain, solve their problem. And if you happen to be solving, if more people happen to have the same problem, and which means your solution is equally applicable to a lot more people, it will automatically grow your scale. So you have to have that passion to find the problem, work with the people who are in the pain, solve their problem. As a result, you will create a product which is very valuable product, and customer will be happy, and in the end, more customer happy, more money they will pay, and better your outcome will be.
So as a follow-up question, a deep tech product requires usually a lot of time and conviction. So how do you keep your team inspired when the results are years away from the present?
Actually, that's a very interesting question. In fact, I personally believe whoever has done semiconductor business can do any business in the world. You know why? Because from the time you think about something till the time the actual revenue happen in semiconductor is about 7 years later. So in pretty much you have to be predicting what will be the future 5 to 7 years later to be able to do that. So you do that with a very, very disciplined manner. The development cycle of semiconductor, I believe, is the most disciplined segment of the industry. And it's more about the passion. It's more about excellence, that you want to be the best of the best. And that's how you keep your team motivated. It is not about making money. It's not about earning the paycheck. It is about doing something which is the top of the technology excellence, and which is going to impact the entire industry. And that's how it's more passion, I believe, than just doing a job or making money.
Thank you so much. Now coming to Amir Ibrahim. So Amir Ibrahim, you are running one of the largest organizations of the region, I must say, and Jazz is continuously in the process of reinventing itself, moving from a traditional telco to more of a lifestyle partner with inclusion at the center of everything. With an organization which is as large as Jazz, how do you maintain the innovation and the scalability which you have started, and how do you ensure that it doesn't lose the agility, which is usually the forte of a startup, not a traditional organization?
Good. Very good and relevant question. Large organizations, by definition, are not particularly agile. Since we're at this forum, we're really talking about ideas getting converted into products into companies, and companies into lovable brands. So there's a journey around innovation and then culmination through good execution. Large companies, by definition, are less risk-friendly. Most of the people get an employment. Their DNA and skill set and their ambitions are slightly different from what we find in the pure entrepreneurial world, who give up everything to get onto a mission and to create something. So it's been challenging, and I have to admit, for the last 32 years, we've been selling SIMs, building towers, and connectivity is at the core of everything that we do. But over the last 5-7 years, we've been very intentional about pivoting from being a telco to being a service co. And what does that mean? That means that our licenses, whether it's a telecom license or a banking license, should not really define who we are. We should be defined by how well we service our customers. And if we service our customers well, we will have a seat on the table. And if we don't deserve to be there. Now, within a large organization, there are multiple challenges, which is starting from the idea generation is not necessarily the hardest one. Ideas get generated anywhere, and with great fluency, I would say. But I think it's how do you take the idea forward? And while in a typical startup, everybody is geared towards that idea and strongly believe in it, in a larger organization, it could be the opposite. Some of the people may not believe in the idea, right? The larger business units may actually stifle and suffocate the idea, because it's like, why are we getting into? And I remember one of our colleagues saying, Jazz Cash, I make more money from my ringback tunes than from Jazz Cash. Why are we wasting time on that? And today, Jazz Cash, mashallah, has about $350 million of revenue, and has about 55 million customers. So it took a lot of patience on our part to persist with it. So bottom line, it's not easy, but you have to somewhat isolate the incubation within that thing so it doesn't get eaten up by the larger organization. And at the same time, the parenting of that particular idea, the protection right from the top is really important. Because if the top is not committed to that particular thing, the rest of the organization can very easily eat it up.
This brings me to the second question, which is, like, as Jazz is expanding into other verticals, like insurance, health tech, cloud, even entertainment. So how open is the organization to have specialized external human resource versus its own GSM people who can, I don't know, I just can't comment, but who can run and scale the businesses themselves? So what's your opinion on this?
So one of the other disadvantages of a large organization, in addition to lack of agility, so we are low on agility but high on arrogance. That's true for most large organizations, right? Because they've been successful in one thing. And in most of these new ideas, there is this thing, oh, we can do it. We're getting into health, partnering with MediQ. And I've been really asking the team to hire some doctors, get some people who are actually from that thing. And there's an inherent resistance because they feel that they were successful doing one thing, they can be doing something else. We are into media, again, like there might be like, we can do it better. And there's got to be a combination between disrupting some of the existing things, so not getting too many people from there, but at least having some subject matter expertise is really important. We're getting into insurance. We are now selling more insurances than anybody else in Pakistan, but then we realized that we should actually perhaps buy an insurance company along with the people who know how to run it. So I think you have to force yourselves. You can't completely outsource it if it grows organically, but at the same time, the right mix of people from subject matter expertise to those who know very little about it, because the ones who know little about something are going to be more challenging, they're going to be more disruptive, to a certain extent more dismissive. And that's where real disruption comes in, because you just don't take what already exists. So if we had to build a media platform, and if I only got people from existing media, they may be tempted to do things exactly the way that they've done it, just under the umbrella of Jazz. So it's the combination of disruption and subject matter expertise. And getting that right balance is not always easy, but we're trying.
Thank you, Ahmed. Now coming to Imran, the Dubizzle group. So I have seen the way Zameen changed the consumer behavior, buying online, something which is used to be an offline product, while the market was at that time not ready to be digitally classified. How did you at mass level gain the trust of the consumer? This is an important question, especially for a startup to scale and become a unicorn.
So Zameen journey was very challenging, to be honest with you. I think when we started, it was more of a hobby project. We had a different startup, moved back to Pakistan and started this out of a bedroom, really. In 2012, we started monetizing it and picked it up as a full-time operation for me and my brother Zishan. It was very interesting because I think the market out there, in the classified space, it's a lot about getting the listings, the properties onto a platform, as an example. Or if it's a car platform, then you need the cars before you get the consumers. You need to service them. And getting quality content is the key thing. To get quality content, that means you have to do a lot of hand-holding in some of these markets. I think we are beyond that stage now in most of these markets. But back in the days, a lot of these real estate agencies, we had to go out there, educate them, evangelize them, not just onto the digital classifieds platform, but for many of them onto the internet as well. So we had to do a lot of handholding, and I think that's where we had to sort of not just deploy a very Western copy-paste model, we had to solve the challenges and the problems as they were on ground. And that required even us as founders rolling up our sleeves, living in the trenches, going out there, understanding what the problems of the agents are, the agencies are, how to solve those. In the early days, we would even take in listings. A listing would be a property ad on the platform, as an example. We would even be out in the streets and enabling the agents to do it through an SMS message, as an example, and piping that through our servers and trying to sort of collect pictures to make a proper ad. You're right, it's a lot about winning the trust of the consumers, and we do see a lot of trust deficit where you don't have an MLS system like you have in the US, which is authenticated, and you have the right listings, even in the car space, even in the goods category. And we still have those challenges, so we've done a lot of work to create that trust by giving authentic quality content, even if you have to compromise on revenues or short-term gains. We would do that. As an example, in Lahore, I do remember back in the days there was an agency which would post 100 properties a day onto the platform. They had a team of data entry operators just doing it repeatedly, just fishing for spammy listings to fish for leads. And we had to go in there and take the hard decisions of banning large clients and customers, just really sort of outright saying, no, this is not acceptable. So I think as some of the people have already said, it takes a lot about having a long-term vision, not being short-sighted. And if you're solving the right problems for your clients, which for us are car dealers, listers, agencies, but also for the customers and the consumers, and really taking a 10-year vision, and that's where the product team comes in. I think one of the key things we had to do was protect product from the commercial side, because commercial folks, they just need to meet their monthly target or the yearly target, and just making sure that we have a long-term vision and the product sort of leads on that side, and also protecting product from near-term commercial goals. As an example, just introducing a feature which we can monetize easily, but that compromises trust and safety on the platform. So a lot of work has gone into that, and we still have those challenges. We continue to solve those.
Okay, and during your journey, was there a turning point or maybe expansion to a city and any specific incident which made you realize that Dubizzle is not a startup but an ecosystem? Was there anything of the sort? Because usually something happens during the life of a startup when they realize this thing.
Sure. So I think as Amir said, ideas come cheap, and there are many ideas, and also there are many ambitions as well. We expanded too fast, and we try to go to too many countries too fast. And I think the answer you're probably seeking is a very different answer you're going to get. We went to 16 countries. And about 5 years ago, we were in Mexico, in Philippines, in Thailand, Indonesia, quite a few other countries. All of them from Mexico to Philippines, if you sort of look at the map, that's a lot of countries. And scaling every country in a consumer platform, every country is very, very challenging. It's not a global play which we can roll out and copy paste. Every market has its nuances. So if you go to Mexico, the way the industry operates over there is very, very different, and that needs a lot of focus. So I think at one point we realized that doing 16 countries in the consumer space, it sounds doable in an Excel sheet, but on ground, it takes a lot of management bandwidth, people bandwidth, and that's why my answer to your first question was people, because that's what we really need more of. And at one point, we realized that less is more, and I think that was a realization back in 2020, and we started bringing a lot more focus into 3 to 4 geographies, and that's what we do now. So I think in terms of really sort of, saying this was a sort of the key stage where we pivoted, that was just realizing it takes a lot of focus. Less is more, focus on 3 to 4 key geographies which are sizable, large enough, and where we know that we have enough people to deploy on ground as well as have a central function to help them out. And that's where we started seeing a lot of scale come in after that.
So talking about trust and getting trust at a larger scale. So the US Mobile, so you being not a traditional telecom provider, how were you able to gain the trust of the consumers at a large scale?
Definitely trust was the one thing which we had to win from the day zero. And the only way you can win their trust, in my opinion, of the customers providing, solving a problem and providing a better product than your competitors. That's it. And we first started with T-Mobile, the only network in the US. We just onboarded them. And then we focus neurotically on the customer support side, because that's what one of the things where the customer was lacking support from their traditional carriers. And we set up a big team in Pakistan for the customer support, and we set up a big team for product in the US so that we can solve the problem what customers are facing right now. And back in 2014, we just started, like unlimited was everywhere in the market in the US. So we started with like, unlimited doesn't work for everyone. Let's start with the limited, meaning you have limited amount of data, minutes and text, and limited services. And of course, it was a niche product. We started with that. But as Peter Thiel says, like start with a niche product and then go into the main market. So we started with that. We won the trust of the consumers and also proved to our like partner T-Mobile, like we can do it. We can do it, and you can see the scale. You can see the growth month over month. And we took the scale and the growth to our new provider, which is Verizon, which has the biggest footprint in the US. They cover around more than 90% in the US. So we ended up in the boardroom of Verizon discussing about US Mobile because they were having really hard time in scaling in US, especially with prepaid consumers. And in one of those boardroom meetings, someone mentioned US Mobile in the Verizon's meeting, and luckily we have someone in the boardroom who happened to know about US Mobile. So they know, yeah, I know these guys. If you want us to connect you guys with them, so we will do that. So in 2017, we signed a partnership with Verizon. That was a game changer for us because the only thing which was lacking from T-Mobile was the footprint, the coverage. The coverage was not that great back in 2014 and 15 with T-Mobile as opposed to Verizon. Then Verizon came in 2017. We launched it in like 6-7 months, and then the problem of coverage was gone. Now that we had to just build the better product consistently for our consumers. So I think our aggression was towards the product side, not towards the marketing side, because we knew like if we can get the right product, marketing will just follow. So still today in our books, marketing is like, I would say like the bottom third expense. Like usually marketing is top or top second after employees. But for us, it's just like, it's not the priority for the company. The product is the priority, and I would say that wins the customer support and everything for us. Yeah.
Now coming to Amir. So Amir, just, I'm amazed at your journey. You built Alkira after you sold your previous company to Cisco, bought billion-dollar ventures. So what personal transformation you had to undergo to start again, to rebuild, to scale, and make another successful venture?
That's a very interesting question. I started this company less than a year after I sold my previous company. And the journey has to start from you believing in something which is very differentiated and which has an opportunity then and there. And it's not easy to make that decision to so quickly go and do another company because you have your family and, the startups are not easy. It takes a lot of time from you. But it's that passion about solving a problem which hasn't been solved before. So in our case, we saw Amazon, Microsoft, Google building their clouds across the globe, and we thought, what an opportunity to transform the networking industry, where people were, deploying physical equipment, interconnecting physical connectivity, or even doing virtual things, but it was all a piecemeal approach. Every cloud was different. So why don't we build common infrastructure across all clouds and offer networking services completely as a service? Whereas, today the customer, or previously the customers would go and build everything piecemeal. It would take them months to years. And here we are, we can stand up a global infrastructure, by leveraging other people's investment within less than an hour. And that has never happened in the networking industry before. So we were very fortunate. And then, of course, once you come up with that idea, you have to have relentless focus on execution. And there are many ups and downs. You go to the largest banks in the world, you go to largest financials, healthcare companies, and retailers in the world, and you try to sell them your idea, and you're sitting in as a core infrastructure for connectivity. All your applications run on top of that. And if you don't provide the best solution, the best customer support, right, the best information or capability, and the team that goes and talks to these customers, it's so important to have a well-rounded team to be able to win their business. And these are global companies, right? If their network goes down for an hour, you're literally losing hundreds of millions of dollars an hour. So they don't trust you as a startup. You have to build that trust, and that happens because of the type of team that you put together. Solution is there, then you can execute, but then you have to support them if something goes wrong. In our cases, many times, Amazon connectivity or Amazon's infrastructure is misbehaving. We have to figure it out for our customers to go and fix, get that problem fixed, because we are a virtualized infrastructure on top of the cloud providers, right? So it's a lot of effort, lots of ups and downs, and it's not easy to grow these businesses. I think it looks easier than it's done, but if you take on major problems, you're taking a lot of pain, a lot of endless nights that you spend on building these companies, and just that grit and courage and relentless focus on execution. And mind you, I started my career over 35 years ago and doing it day in and day out, right? It's very encouraging to me. It's always exciting to me, and that's what keeps us going.
Thank you, Amir. So coming to the US mobile, you don't have a traditional telecom model. You don't have the infrastructure which usually the telecom operators they have. How were you able to do a successful business which was more focused on technology, efficiency, experience compared to your other competitors? And and what would you suggest about getting more customers through a partnership model with the existing giants in the industry? So it's about not having the infrastructure, but still having the infrastructure of the giants in the industry and getting the consumer trust because you are relying on someone else's infrastructure. How does it work for you?
Yeah, so for US Mobile, we deal with the biggest three companies in the US. They like Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. When it comes to Verizon and AT&T, they have like a god level of cash, literally. Like no one has more cash and influence in the US than these telecom companies has, like apart from a few others. So with respect to that, like you just have to keep on delivering and working with them on a daily basis and trying to show them the value you can create for them. If you can create enough value for them on a daily basis and on a consistent basis, then they will reward you the way they want to. And I would say like in the last quarter of Q3, I guess, yeah, Q3, we have added more prepaid subscriber at US Mobile than Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile combined. So that was a big thing for us. Like when we go into the room and when we are in the room with negotiating with these partners with respect to pricing, with respect to benefits, with respect to spiffs, like we now have a say as opposed to when we started back in 2014, we just didn't have anything. We were just like, okay, just give us the deal. But T-Mobile followed Verizon, and then after Verizon, it was AT&T. We launched AT&T in 2024, last year of August, and we have grown that business from 0 subscriber only at AT&T level to around 400,000 subscribers in just 12 months. Why? Because they just enabled us through different incentive structures, and we were able to launch the industry's first real unlimited plan only with AT&T. Now Verizon is also talking to us about this thing because no one wants to take a risk of real unlimited. We have seen people who have used like 400 gigs in a day. Like, what are you guys doing it? Like, but at the same time, you just have to see from the perspective of everything regress to mean, and like, there are some outliers who can use 400 gigs in a day, but there are some other people who just use 1 gigs in a day. And on an average basis, you will be like, okay, you are making enough money to AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile that they are interested in giving you more and more deals. That's how you win the trust of these big companies. And there were times with Verizon, I remember, back in 2019, Verizon had a very strange structure where they ask you to provide LOC with respect to your future invoices. And like, if you are a company like US Mobile, which grows every month exponentially, then LOC numbers are going to be crazy. Like today, if we have to follow the LOC things, we would have to keep aside around $20 million just for Verizon's LOC, not use that money at all. But in 2019, they came to us, they were like, guys, you guys don't have enough LOC, so we'll either shut you down or fund your LOC. So we were just like, if one of these networks shuts you down, you're just dead in the water. You're just nothing, because you are running on their infrastructure. And that was one of the pivotal time period in our company where we went back and we went to Verizon, we said, guys, this is the growth we have provided you over the period, and this is where we are, and this is where we are going. So if you want, join us. If not, then we cannot just fund this LOC. And Verizon being Verizon, as I have mentioned, like they have a God level of money. They're like, fine, just keep performing, and we kept on with it. In 2024, we launched AT&T. Verizon is still the main player for us, but at the same time, like these three infrastructures, if you can provide them the customer which they have lost because of like Verizon or AT&T's thing, and then they join US Mobile, then it's just like they are still within the ecosystem of Verizon or AT&T, because like at the end of the day, we are also using their towers as well. So they do not see it as a zero-sum game. They see it as a win-win for everyone. So this is how we make sure that they see where we are going. Yeah.
Thank you so much for answering those questions. Now the rapid fire, starting from Amir. So, what leadership lesson you had to unlearn to scale?
I think you have to increase your level of humility in terms of what you don't know. Once you're successful, success is a dangerous thing sometimes. You think you can do a number of things because you've done them in the past. And when you get onto newer ventures, it's not always the same playbook. And you have to improvise. And that is basically what you have to tune up a lot more. You just have to recognize that you don't have the answers. So it's just undoing whatever, I wouldn't say confidence, but the unlearning part is whatever may have worked in the past may not necessarily work in the future.
Ahmed, to you. So one mistake you would proudly repeat because it taught you more than what success would have taught you.
Team chemistry. It's so fundamentally important at a startup to make sure the team that you hire is gelling, meaning that they're working together well. And if there are people who are not working out, you have to get rid of them very quickly. And that's a lesson that I learned very late. And, so this time around, we make changes when they need to be made very, very quickly. And I think that's a very important lesson as a startup.
So Raghib, what is one global technology shift that excites you most for the next decade?
I think there is no doubt about it. Is AI. It's gonna change the entire world, the way we do anything. So I'm in alignment with that.
Okay, Imran, one belief you early had as a founder that no longer serves you today?
Arrogance, that's gone now. We've spoken a lot of success about our success stories, but there have been a lot of failures as well. And again, that's how sort of react from the failure. So there have been a lot of lessons, and I think when we started off, academically I'd done okay, reasonably well, I would say, and had good jobs out there in the UK when I moved to Pakistan. And coming to Pakistan, building a team, I thought that okay, I knew better. But now today where I am, what I look for in people who report to me or when I hire people, I look for qualities which they have, which I don't possess myself, right? And I think that's kind of a lot of humility, modesty has come in. And that's primarily been driven from many failures, but also I would say some maturity as well.
Right. Thank you, everyone. So as we can see from this discussion that scaling is not a linear process. It requires a balance between vision and execution, between technology and people, between conviction and actual execution. So I think I would really say thank you to this extraordinary panel which we had today here for turning ideas which apparently looked undoable into products which are now defining the industry. And I'm also very thankful to the audience for listening to what our speakers had to say, because you are the ones who are going to develop the next generation of unicorns and carry these lessons forward. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you.